Well, I couldn't start recording immediately when I pulled out from the truck stop because it was raining. I didn't want the wipers to interfere with the recording. It's not raining right now, but it's still cloudy. It might still come down. Hopefully it'll wait until after I finish the recording, because we don't want that wiper interference here at the Solomon Project, where it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep that counts. I'm your host, Richard Burns, and there's a big to-do right now because of food stamps. Food stamps. So many people on food stamps. For those who don't know, I was raised in the hood in New York City. And I was surrounded by people who were in need of some kind of assistance, whether it be food or shelter or medical. There were a lot of people that were poor and needed help. Although people might have a bad view of these families that needed help, it's incredible how corporations get help, but nobody bats an eye about that. I'm not going to go there right now, but there are families that do need help. I met many families in the hood that use this help provided by the government, whether it be local, state, or federal, or a combination of all three. And they use that help to support them while they were doing everything possible to get out of needing that type of help. So they went on to higher education, got their degrees, got decent paying jobs, and moved on. Everything I just said, everything I just finished saying, is nothing but words. But those words don't really help people understand exactly what these families had to go through in order to get out of their circumstance. You see, these people that need aid, they're in the worst of neighborhoods. In the worst of neighborhoods. These are the type of neighborhoods where a good son or daughter can wind up as a mural on a wall with candles in front of it, acknowledging the unaliving of these good children because of the violence that takes place in those neighborhoods. So if you're a parent and you're in the hood and you can't get out right away and you need assistance, that assistance could be the key to exiting those circumstances. It's very, very hard. Very hard for those families. Yeah, on occasion you'll hear about the one single parent that abuses the system, but they're not as common as people think it is. They're not as common. You got families in the hood that are taking Section 8, that are receiving Section 8, and the apartments that they're able to get under Section 8 are far better than apartments that they would be able to get if they decide to get off Section 8 and rough it out. I can tell you that even when I worked and made my money through work without receiving any assistance, the type of apartments that I was able to live in were too small, in buildings that were too dangerous. There were shootouts on a regular basis, stabbings. In the winter, there were times when we wouldn't have heat for weeks. You'd be sitting in your living room watching television, and a rat the size of a small dog would run right across your living room. Sometimes they wouldn't even run, they would just walk right across your living room. And these are the type of circumstances that people were living in when they had a job. When both parties, when the spouses they both had jobs, they were living under those conditions. Working class families that were living under those conditions. So when you have someone who's on assistance and they genuinely want to get off, but they have to think of what it means to get off. If you've been on assistance for a year or two and you plan on applying for a job, what are you going to put on your resume? Who's going to hire you? What kind of pay are you going to make?
What up?
If the circumstances that you're in are bad while getting assistance, it's going to get worse once you get off. So, what would motivate you to want to get off and struggle even more? It's a huge leap from being someone who gets assistance to being someone who can sustain themselves without it. It's a big jump. It's not gradual. And you got families that depend on these food stamps. And here's the thing. This assistance that people are getting, it's going right to the local businesses. It's going to the landlord. It's going to the bodega on the corner. It's going to the supermarket. It's going to the transportation system. All these businesses I just mentioned, they're going to make less money. They're going to make less money. Food stamps help farmers just as much as it helps those people that need the food stamps. The farmers are able to sell what they produce to the markets. And the demand remains because there are people who have the means to be able to purchase their agricultural goods. Granted, it's the government that's providing the aid to these families. But eventually it gets to the farmer. And it gets to a number of businesses. How many families are on public assistance? On food stamps? I don't know. I know a lot of red states have a lot of people that depend on government subsidies. And they voted against their own interest. So what now? What's going to happen? Starting November, food stamps are going to get cut off. And I'm not sure who's getting cut off, who's not getting cut off. I don't know yet. But there's plenty of content right now expressing a concern. There are plenty of people who receive food stamps that are expressing their concerns. Are these people going to have to decide whether they eat or pay their rent? Or pay all of their rent? A portion of their rent? How many of those people exist? How many landlords have families that depend on food stamps? That depend on Section 8? Is this all part of, and excuse me for putting my conspiracy hat on, is this all part of what I had mentioned in my live? Corporations would like nothing better than to have a desperate population. It gives corporations leverage. It makes it possible for corporations to hire people and pay them much less. Because after all, they are desperate. However, if that's the case, and corporations have the upper hand and can pay people much less, what's going to happen to all the other businesses that depend on these people who are employed, who are making less? They have less money to spend. Are landlords going to lower their rents so that they can go out and spend? Are energy companies going to lower their bills so that people can go out and spend? Are fuel prices going to go down so that people can spend? You know, businesses are in business to make money. So the idea of making less money, that's not appealing at all. It's not desirable. However, it might be what has to happen. So having prices go down to the levels that they may have to go down, that is what a depression looks like. But you would have to ask, what about the corporations that are hiring these people that are paying them less? That means that they have less money to spend. The people who are working for these corporations have less money to spend. What's going to happen to the profit margins of these corporations that are hiring people and paying them much less than what they would have? What's going to happen to their profit margins? It looks like a big portion of the population here in the United States is going to have to prepare themselves for desperate times if we continue down this path. The austerity measures that this administration is implementing, thanks to Elon Musk and Doge, thanks to the model for this austerity that they're imitating from the Argentinian government, from Milei, President Milei of Argentina, who happens to be very friendly with Elon, came to the United States with a chainsaw. That was part of Milei's campaign, traveling throughout the nation with a chainsaw, demonstrating to the population in Argentina of how he was going to cut the fat or cut the spending. So Milei pays a visit to the United States with Elon on stage, where he gives Elon a gift. I thought I remembered that he gave Elon a chainsaw as a gift. So that Elon could use the same symbol to demonstrate what he plans on doing here in the United States with massive cuts. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. There are plenty of people that are in favor of these austere measures. The wiper. Sorry about that. It started to drizzle my nizzle. Yeah, let's see how this whole austerity works out for us. It never worked out well for Argentina. Not sure why it would work out well for us, but let's see. Let's see what happens. With that, I'm gonna let you guys go, because I don't have to keep wiping your face. So stay fresh and keep it profitable. Kitty, you got your wipers on? Come get these people so I don't keep wiping their face. Kitty!
Arabam Dacia, seviyorum çift kalem aça. Göremedi kimseden fayda. İşler